Hammer Down Racing Report. And now your hosts, Scott Hammer, Ron Miller, and Jerry Keyser.
Welcome, race fans, to the Hammer Down Racing Report, show number 166 for February 11th, 2021. I updated the date on my prep this week. Very proud of myself.
How can it be 166 shows? I mean, how can we be having this much fun?
It's 166 hours worth of fun, I guess. I don't know.
Unless you count the couple shows that ran a little long.
Yeah, what did you do with your connection? You sound all muffled now, Ron. We need to get your connection fixed. Anywho, welcome to the Hammer Down.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Welcome to the Hammer Down Racing Report, presented by Oakshade Raceway. Coming at you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, at Hammer Report, follow us on YouTube. You listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform. What's your favorite, Jerry? Oh, wait, you're still muted. Why are you still muted?
Why am I still muted? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there you're
YouTube
muted. Music.
YouTube Music?
Yep. Are we
formerly
on there?
Formerly Google Play Music. Yes, we are there.
Yes. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. I listen to Google Podcasts most of the time, where I check out my podcast. Amy, the voice there at the beginning, she's the one that does our voices, used to be on 104.7 WIOT. She actually does a podcast as well called Horrific Heartland, I do believe. It's like a haunted kind of thing. I haven't listened to it. I want to listen to it. I keep seeing posts about it, but eventually I'll get a chance to check that out. Tonight on the show, we will feature Dirt's modified late model sprint and whatever else driver Brian Ruhlman, who back from Florida racing down the DIRTcar Nationals, and having some issues with my button pushing tonight for some reason. It's not. I don't know if it's my mouse. I'm thinking it's not. If you're having the same issues there, Jerry. There we go.
I don't know what the deal is. Everything's moving right, but when I click on something, I'm having to click multiple times to get it to work. That's
yeah, me too. And then we lost Ron, so I don't know. Things happen for some reason. I want to thank our sponsors. Make sure you support them as well, because without them, the show would not be possible. Of course, Oakshade Raceway, we're the fastest meet to race. They have a few dates that I have posted on the website, oakshaderaceway.com, for the 2021 race schedule. You can check that out. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I keep seeing Ron pop up. There, I think I see him now. I think Ron's back.
Oh,
Ron Miller! Ron Miller, Scott Hammer, Jerry Keyser. It is your entire Hammer Down Racing Report crew. Also got to thank Real Geese Silhouette Decoys, the most technologically advanced goose and duck decoys ever produced, and they're manufactured here in the U.S. Check out realgeese.com or call 419-800-8100. Millstream Speedway, that race a week from Saturday, the Hangover 2, it's looking like it's going to be interesting. Temperature's not going to get above freezing anytime before then. Track conditions will not be an issue as far as whether or not the event's going to happen. Track conditions will be an issue for people like Ron Miller and myself to try and figure out how or what we're going to do.
Bring your thermoses full of hot toddies if you're going to be sitting in the stands to watch it. It's going to be a cold one, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's coming up on February 20th, and they got a Facebook Live coming up next Wednesday. You can check out on their Facebook page. That's Millstream Speedway. Got to thank Big D's Pizza and Clyde, sponsor on Devin Moran, and he's still trying to get his first win. He's had some bad luck. I guess last night I was talking to Dean Henry and broke a drive shaft.
Dean said in the chat tonight, right now, Devin's overall quick time tonight at Volusia County. So maybe tonight will be the night.
Maybe. I hope so. It's got to be the Hammer Down. Can't be the Hammer Down Racing Report curse. That would suck. And, of course, Ron Miller Race Cars in Lambertville, Michigan. His work on race cars is much better than his internet works. That's why I take my car all there all the time. And he's very affordable. And he's got race car parts, safety equipment. And speaking of safety equipment, a couple of weeks, we lost him again. Speaking of safety equipment, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a show about safety equipment. We're actually working on getting Jay Steele, the safety director at Motor City Racing and at Kalamazoo Nashville Speedway, on in conjunction with Matt Swander. Thanks for hooking us up with that. And next week on the show, looking forward to this one. If you haven't heard of Amber Balkin, you might want to look her up. She's going to be our guest on the show, and we'll be talking about her racing career and what she's got planned for this year. She hasn't announced what she's doing yet, but Tuesday she's going to be making a big announcement, and then we'll have her on the show a week from Thursday. So looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
While we try and get Ron connected, Jerry, why don't we go through all the racing action in our racing roundup, and then we'll talk to Brian Ruhlman here in just a little bit.
Sounds good. This week's racing roundup, the All-Star Circuit of Champions were in action last week. The Carson Macedo won Thursday's 25-lap sprint feature Thursday at Volusia. Next up for the All-Stars will be Attica Raceway Park on April 9th and 10th. The World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars in action with Brad Sweet, the defending champion, winning Friday night at Volusia County by 1.128 seconds over runner-up Logan Schuchart. Saturday's event was rained out. On Sunday, Donnie Schatz led the first 28 laps of the 30-lap main event and then slowed with mechanical issues due to a defective ignition box. Logan Schuchart went on to pick up the win in the final night of the sprint car portion of the DIRTcar Nationals. It was his second win of the week to take the Big Gator Championship. The Outlaws were scheduled to be at Dixie Speedway in Georgia and Talladega Short Track on Friday and Saturday. However, those were canceled due to rain and frigid temps predicted for this weekend. So the Outlaws did cancel those events. The next events on the schedule will be Magnolia Speedway next week on February 19th and the Rev in Louisiana on February 29th. Hey, wait a minute. You're trying to trick me, Scott. There is no February 29th this year. It must be the 28th.
That was last year.
The DIRTcar Nationals Modifieds were in action. Jason Hughes and Kyle Strickler were winners in last Thursday's Twin 20s at Volusia. Friday night had 5 feature races. Winners were David Rudeman, Clay Harris, Chad Roush, Nick Allen, and Richard Michael Jr. Saturday's action was rained out. Nick Hoffman and Steve Arpin were the winners of the Gator Duels on Sunday. Justin Allgaier won Monday's Gator Championship feature at Volusia.
And that was supposed to be the 20th. Sorry.
The 20th. Okay, the 19th and the 20th. So next weekend at Magnolia.
That was a typo. I wasn't trying to fool you there.
I know. I figured. Okay. Late model action. Tim McCready won Monday's late model action at Volusia with Mark Whitener finishing second, with last week's guest Devin Moran finishing third. Bobby Pierce earned his first Gator Trophy win in Tuesday night's action with Moran finishing second. Devin tonight is, like Dean posted in the chat, quick time tonight down at Volusia. So we'll look to see if he can pick up a victory tonight. World of Outlaw Morton Buildings late models in action. Wednesday night results don't have. Next up will be tonight through Saturday.
Kyle Strickler.
Strickler will pick up the win on Wednesday night. I missed that.
The guy that about cut off his finger. It wasn't on the prep. I did that today and forgot to send it to you.
Usually I go back through before we start. So that's my fault entirely. The Nine-Fingered Bomber picking up the win last night. Like I said, looking to see if Devin can pick up a victory tonight down at Volusia Speedway Park. USAC Midget action. Buddy Kofoid won the season opener that was rain delayed after 13 laps Friday night and then completed Saturday afternoon at Bubba Raceway Park. Buddy been on a tear, looking to see his year going good. Saturday night's action was rained out and postponed to Monday night. And after all that, Thomas Meserol picked up the win after leading all 30 laps. Chris Wyndham finished second, followed by Buddy Kofoid. In NASCAR action, Kyle Busch came from third to win the Busch Clash after Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney got together racing for the lead in the final chicane on the final lap. In qualifying for the Daytona 500, looks like Alex Bowman picked up the pole with William Byron starting his outside for Sunday's Daytona 500. The rest of the starting positions will be determined via the dual 150s, which have gotten underway. They'll run both of those tonight and set the remaining 40-car field for the Daytona 500. And that'll do it for tonight. The Racing Roundup on the Hammer Down Racing Report.
Let's bring up Brian Ruhlman now. Brian, are you there?
Yep.
I like it when things work. Some things
Yay!
work. My mouse doesn't work, but the phone's working, so that's good. Brian Ruhlman joining us once again, and my first question for you is, what are you calling yourself these days? Are you a sprint car driver? Are you a modified driver? Are you a late model driver? Or what do you call it? What do you classify yourself as?
I'm a triple threat now.
Triple threat.
No,
I like it.
last year, my goal's been to win in all divisions. Okay. So last year we won 3 in the late model. We won 3 in the 410 sprint. We won 1 in the crate sprint, and we won 2 in the modified. So I won in everything I own.
So that's like a quadruple threat.
Well, yeah, if they're the crate and the 410 are both non-wing sprints. But,
well,
so we got a total of 9 features among 4 divisions. So.
Don't
call
short
that
yourself.
a Ruhlman Grand Slam.
A Ruhlman hat trick.
So, yeah, I'll tell you, the guys that are really the true racers, the AJ Foyts, the Kenny Schraders, the Tony Stewarts, the guys that can get into any car, whether it's pavement, asphalt, sprints, late models, midgets, whatever. I always had a greater respect for those kind of drivers. And, and that was, when we got into the sprints, try something different and learn it and try and get good at it.
Have you ever run on pavement, raced on pavement?
Yeah, we.
That's right. You did Spartan Speedway. You did at least the street stock there. But have you done anything else?
No, we did we actually took our modified to Spartan one time and put some used tires on it and won a heat race and was running 3rd in the feature and got taken out. But
was that your dirt modified racing against the pavement modified?
Yeah. We had some friends that there was a memorial race and it was on a Sunday and they wanted me to take my stuff up there and I said, well, I'm not going to buy tires. And they said, well, we'll get you some takeoffs and you can go up and run around there. And yeah, we have a heat race win at Spartan Speedway and a dirt modified.
Interesting. How do you set did you do a lot of different setup on the car for that, or you just kind of just...
No, we literally bolted 4 used 970 tires on it, and and I think our stuff turns really good. Our front suspension steers really well. So, which is kind of a funny story to that. We won the heat race, and we were supposed to start on the pole. And the track owner come over and he said, there's a lot of these guys here that really are not happy with you and your car. And I said, why not? He said, well, it moves too much. It's up in the air and that, and they're afraid they can't see around you. So they asked if you wouldn't mind starting at the back. And I thought for a minute and I said, you know what? I said, I'll start many positions back as you want. As long as you'll pay me that many positions forward at the pay window, I'll start wherever you want me to. And this is Jim Leisure was the owner at the point. And he kind of thought for a minute, and he says, well, F them guys, you're going to start on the pole. And like I say, we let it for a while, and then we got roughed up and dumped and came from the back, and I think we ended up finishing, 5th or 6th, somewhere in there. But, they don't like dirt guys.
No, I don't know why. Would you do that again if the opportunity came up?
I'll be honest with you. It's really boring.
That's why they don't like us dirt guys. You just said it's boring.
It's like driving around a parking lot. No, I think I've had my fill of that.
All right, so you're sticking to the dirt.
Right. The end of October, Sandusky Speedway is supposed to be running kind of a cheers night, sort of a run what you brung. Any interest in doing something like that if you're not running somewhere else?
Well, I'll tell you, the problem with the whole run what you brung thing is, the expense of doing it for one race. If it was you bring your UMP car or whatever, and that I wouldn't mind that, but the expense of doing all the Lexan and the sideboards and all that, it's just cost prohibitive.
Nobody says you have to do all that. You can just bring it as a UMP.
Well, I'm not going to go there if I don't have a fair chance of winning.
All right. Well, you seem to do pretty good at Spartan against the pavement guys. Yeah, your stuff turns good.
Yeah. So, we'll see. It's the last couple of years, it's just been all about having fun. We work our butts off in the shop all week, and going racing is kind of our relaxation.
Well, how relaxing was it?
We did.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say we ended up taking 3 cars to a couple different tracks. We ran at I-96. We ran the 410 Sprint, the modified, and the late model. And then we went to Lernerville and ran the crate sprint, the modified, and the late model. and with just Veronica and I.
All on the same night?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see, at 96, we won the late model, ran, I think, 5th in the modified and 5th or 6th in the sprint. And then at Lernerville, we won the modified, ran 2nd in the sprint, and ended up pulling off in the late model.
We need to get you a compact or something. That's like the only thing you don't have.
I'm trying to find a mini wedge ride. Something I can put on like a snowmobile suit.
Would your head like be poking out through the top?
I think there'd be a lot of me poking out everywhere.
Ryan, I'm just not going to go there because paybacks. You know about paybacks.
So you went down to Florida and to run the DIRTcar Nationals with the modifieds there. There is a lot of big names down there, and I mean there always is for some reason. The modifieds seem to attract a lot of attention. But I mean, how give us your rundown on how things went for you down there.
Well, we didn't run as well as we'd hoped to, but looking back at it, we made the feature every night through the heat race. And there's 100 cars and the best of the best, but we were finishing 2nd or 3rd in the heat, not winning the heat. So when you have 8 heat races and you finish 3rd, that starts you, as far back as 24th. And you got, 20 laps to try and pass the best of the guys that are there. We had one night we started 21st and we got to 11th and then had a right rear start going down, which blew out on the last lap. So we ended up finishing last. Had another night we started 9th, got to 5th, ended up 7th. Another night we drove from 17th to 11th, I think. So we were decent. They put new clay on the track and it acts way different than the old stuff. So we were, a little behind on that.
Okay. How crazy were those car counts? I think I saw 96 for Friday night.
Yeah, there was between 90 and 100 every night, and I mean it was a who's who of modifieds, which is amazing because they pay $1,000 to win and I think $100 to start.
Yeah, we had Ken Schrader, Joey Logano showed up for one of those, or maybe 2 of the nights. Kenny Wallace, Taylor Cook. I mean, Nick Hoff. I mean, everybody was there.
Yeah, and it's that's the thing. You go there to race. If we're in this to make money, I just stayed home in the shop and worked.
Okay. But did you have fun?
And on the upside, it never snowed a single night, did it?
I'll tell you what, it got to 31 degrees the one night.
Wow.
Ooh.
I mean, it was cold. Yeah. The first night there, it got down to 34. The second night, it got down to 31, and then it rained, and then it turned to 85 and muggy.
Jeez. So. Surprised Florida wouldn't close down if it got down to 31.
Yeah, no, it was, it was good to get out. It was good to sit down in a restaurant and eat like a normal person. And, things were a lot more lax down there.
So you said, it's the best of the best was down there. Who, in your opinion, is the best in a modified, besides yourself, obviously?
Well, Nick Hoffman's made us all look stupid down there the last few years. I don't know if I would say Nick is a better driver, but he's a really good driver and he is really good at a race car. UMP's not so much very good at checking the bodies. I'll say also, they had some stuff that was getting through tech that, I'm pretty sure I couldn't get through with. And when the track's really slick and a big half mile like that, downforces everything. And, Nick had 0.4 of a second on everybody in the field. The rest of us were all right there, within a couple thousandths of each other, whether it's, Stremme, Tyler Nicely, McKinney, there's a group of about probably 30 of us that could win a race any night, and we were all right there. But,
what is it about the modifieds you think that brings all these people to come and race for $1,000 to win?
Well,
Yeah,
they're a lot cheaper to run than a late model. They're a lot of fun, and they're very simple. It's not, they don't take the work and maintenance like a late model does.
Well, but you work on all that stuff, so it's like that doesn't really shouldn't matter to you at all. Do you? I mean, I know we've asked you this before. I asked you what do you enjoy driving the most, and I think your answer is you like them all. But I mean, obviously, you still have a lot of enjoyment running the modified because you still do it.
Well, to give a comparison, like the late model versus the modified, they drive very similar, but the modified is a little bit slower. So if you're good and comfortable in a late model, then a modified is kind of like driving one in slow motion. Which, you get a guy like, Kyle Strickler now. He's run late model stuff. You get back in the modified, and now it's like you're Superman. Nick Hoffman did the same thing. He ran some late model stuff, so it makes driving a modified a lot easier.
It's a lot of the sprint car guys say the same thing, but when going from a 410 back to a 305, it's like driving in slow motion.
Yeah, and we had that, with our 410 versus our crate, which we ran. I think we ran 5 nights with that and had a win in 4 seconds with that car. So it's make it like say slow motion of what the big car is.
Now you mentioned Kyle Strickler last Wednesday, I believe it was. Was it Wednesday night? I think it was. He had an incident with his finger there that we were talking about. Were you familiar with what happened there? Did you see any of that?
Yeah, I'm pretty good friends with Kyle. Yeah, he told me about it the next day there. I guess he was positioning his pit lift and got his fingers caught in the thing when one of the crew guys moved it up or down, and it nipped off about ½ inch of his one middle finger. So it was stuck on there enough that they got it to come back on and stitch it back on, and he cut the middle finger out of his glove and had a bunch of tape and gauze and stuff on it.
And ended up coming back from the hospital and finishing third that night.
Yeah, he got back there, which he's a little goofy as it is. Have a good kid and really talented.
Have you ever had anything like that happen to you, where you had something, you get hurt and then come back to the track and do really well?
No, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. But now I still got all my fingers and toes.
Still got all your fingers?
Knock on wood. Yep, never broken anything. So I guess we're...
Headlines tomorrow. Brian Ruhlman can still count to 10.
Oh, yeah. I like to count to 20. 21 maybe.
Whoa, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So let's switch gears here and talk about your plans for this year. Do you plan to do the same thing, run all three or four of your different cars, different classes? Is there one maybe that you're going to try and focus on a little more? Any series you're going to run? What are your plans for this year?
I think we're just going to pick and choose, which is kind of what we did last year, other than we ran that sprint series. If we feel like taking the late model out, we'll dig it out and put it in the trailer. If we feel like running the modified, we'll go run it. If we feel like running the sprint car, we may do some running out east. A lot of the tracks out there went to UMP sanctioning for the modifieds. So we can take either the modified and the late model. We can take the modified and the crate sprint. I-96 has a bunch of shows where they're running late models and 410 sprints. I think they have 5 non-wing sprint shows, and they're running late models along with them. We had a lot of fun there last year. Track was good. The people were nice, and pays well. So, we'll just have to see. We may run to Oakshade. We may run to Attica. We may just, it's hard to say. We're just going to kind of do what we feel like doing.
Have you heard of the Sprints on Ice deal? The Great Lakes Super Sprints planning on doing something like that next winter? I
heard some of that.
Is any interest in that for you, or is that something that you're just totally not into?
No, that's too freaking cold.
But it looks so cool, though. If it was warm, I think it would be pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, and when it gets to June, we'll do that, but it'll be dirt instead of snow.
It'd be water instead of snow.
Well, probably on that track.
And you could have a test track just down the road.
Yeah.
Okay, then. You do have a lot of
Clark
lakes
Lake,
in your
yeah.
area there. Clark Lake, as a matter of fact. Is that an actual lake, or is that just a town?
No, there's water and everything there.
Oh, okay.
Water, fish, boats, all that stuff.
Oh, so it's like real water.
Yep.
Hey, Brian, you keep talking about the crate sprint car. What motor are you guys running in those?
That's a 602 sealed crate motor.
And how many races a year typically will you get in something like that?
They run, the series runs up to about 25 races. They take your top 15 or top 12 finishes. And we've run maybe between 6 and 10 races every year with that. My brother and my nephew run that series.
Are you seeing that turn into an affordable way for guys to get into a sprint car class?
Oh yeah. And in fact, both the even the 410 sprint cars are way cheaper. We have 3 sprint cars here, the 1 crate and 2 410s, and I have less money in all 3 of them combined than I do in 1 modified.
Wow.
So they're way cheaper. They're way easier to maintain. But the crate deal, I mean, yeah, you can build one of those brand new for under $15,000 race ready.
Wow.
Awesome.
Brian, are those carbureted?
Yeah, the crate one has it's a spec carburetor, 750 on alcohol. They have a spec fuel, they have spec tire, they got a spec shock. They keep everything, pretty good eye on everything. So, it's really, fair competition. You don't have anybody outspending anybody else.
Any plans to run any boss shows this year?
Yeah, there's a few that I want to try and hit. Their schedule's kind of moved around a little bit. They went a little bit east and south, and but I think they still have some stuff up in Michigan. But there's a lot of talent in that series. The MTS series or the Great Lakes Traditional Sprint. There's some good talent, but it's not as deep yet as like the Boss series. But I think it's going to grow to that pretty quick. Got guys like Dustin Daggett that ran a few. I guess he's going to run most of the series, and some of the other GLSS guys are going to have non-wing cars. So I see the depth of competition in the GLTS getting better too.
With that said, is there any thoughts of you putting a wing on top of yours and seeing what you can do against the Great Lakes Super Sprint guys?
No, don't really have the interest in that. The thing I like about the non-wing sprint is there's absolutely no downforce. You have everything you could ever ask for in a race car in excess, and it's all up to the driver managing that. It's not who can hold the thing wide open and steer it. If you try that, you may be doing wheelies, you may be upside down, you just don't know.
That was one of the things I fell in love with non-wing sprints when I was announcing at Waynesfield. Guys like T-Mez and Matt Westfall, guys that had a lot of USAC experience where the guys dominated, but you had guys like Devin Dobie that would show up with a crate motor and finish top 5, top 3, and start opening people's eyes. So that I completely understand. That's a neat deal about the non-wing cars.
Yeah.
But with the wing though, if you do get upside down, that gives you a little extra cushioning on above your head there.
The people said that, but I always figure you try not to get upside down.
Yeah, keep the wheels on the ground. That's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, it makes sense. Is there any single event you're looking forward to this season?
Just getting out and just being able to race without having to worry about masks and shutdowns and all that. I hope we can get back to just regular life again.
Hopefully soon. I'm thinking probably not at the beginning of the season, but maybe halfway through or toward the end, things will get back to normal. Fingers crossed. I mean, it'd be great if it was before then, but yeah, nobody really knows. But
nothing would surprise me at this point.
Yeah. As far as your race calendar goes right now, what is the next race you plan on competing in?
Well, we signed up for that Bristol deal, but I don't know if we're going to go to that. Yeah, it was one of those deals. They'd opened up, and it was like you had about 15 minutes to decide whether you wanted to sign up or not, because it would fill up so quick. So, it's worst case, I'll lose a couple $100. So we went ahead and signed up, but we're so busy in the shop right now that
which car were you
stay here and work.
Were you going to run there? The late model?
The modified.
Modified, okay.
No, yeah, the modified. We ran the late model down there in 2000 when they first put dirt on it.
Did you?
And it was really different from what I expected. I figured it would be a place similar to Eldora, but it's a real paperclip. So the corners are way tighter, the straightaways are longer. We fought for whatever the 2 or 3 days we were there trying to get the car to turn. And by the time we figured it out, we were starting, tail of B main, and drove up through and missed getting in by one spot. But it was a different deal. I think they've learned from that, and I think it's going to be a lot better deal. They're not going to have the track as fast. They're not going to have it as banked. So
was that
we'll see if it's that.
Was that the fastest track that you have ever run on?
No, I mean, fastest, we were at Syracuse, we ran that, which I think we were, 170 some mile an hour back then.
Is that all?
In fact, I think you were out there, Ron.
Yes, sir.
I think
for that. Yeah, in fact, I think that's where I first got teal on the front of my nose.
Yeah, how'd you do that?
No, we ran 6 in that both years. They ran at 95 and 96. And so that was a little bit of fun. It was kind of a treacherous deal. But as far as the forces involved, Bristol is excessive. The way they had the track before. I mean, they were breaking centers out of the wheels. They were ripping the axle snouts right off the hubs. And so, yeah, it definitely had a lot of force there.
I'm guessing it was probably pretty hard on the engines, too, unless you had it geared right.
Well, back then we didn't have the traction and that like we do today. The bodies weren't nearly as good. We didn't have the cars weren't all reared up and in an aerodynamic attitude like they do now. So it was more trying to get the car to rotate. And the harder you tried to get it to rotate, the worse it was going to break the center out of the right rear wheel.
Well, know what I think would be cool to see there, and Ron might like this too, to do outlaw late models with the big sideboards at Bristol. See how fast they would go.
That'd be frightening.
Would you do it?
Yeah, I think I'd watch that. I think I'd watch that one from the stands.
What about you, Ron? Would you do it?
We ran an outlaw show at Hartford a lot of years ago. I would be very apprehensive about Bristol. I think I'd pass on that one.
Wow, I'm surprised. I thought you were fearless.
I am, but somewhere
self-preservation must be.
Somewhere old age and wisdom has to overcome youth and exuberance.
Fair enough. All right, Brian. Well, we appreciate the time tonight, and I hope that you get caught up in the shop. You still got, like 2 months? Well, no, I guess it's about a month, isn't it? It's like next month.
We've got about 9 cars to do right now, and so we're trying to find a fabricator. If anybody knows of anybody who wants a metal fabrication job, we got a position open.
I think Ron does that kind of stuff. But I don't think he's looking for a job.
I heard he's a little slow, though.
Ouch.
Oh, he's old. He's old,
Oh, man.
Love you, Ron.
Well, we hope to see you at Bristol.
That's one I owed him, Brian.
Brian may stay away from Oakshade this year, just not get any payback. Or maybe this could be fun if you do show up there. We'll have something to watch. Keep an eye on that 49 and the 35 car. they get close on the track. But anyway, so what else going on in your shop? Give yourself a plug there for Ruhlman race cars too. While we got you.
Well, it's been actually the last few months. It's just been Veronica and I. I think we've got, before we left for Florida, we had 11 cars that we got out of here, and we've got, let's say, about 8 or 9 more to do. Little variety of everything. We've got been doing some new late models, been doing some new modifieds. We've got some Eldora stock car stuff. Little bit of everything.
So, and do you sell parts and all that stuff too? And how can people get a hold of Brian Ruhlman and Ruhlman Race Cars?
You can just look us up on Facebook or on the internet, and just give us a call.
All right, man. Well, good luck this year in all of your cars, and we hope for another. What were we calling it?
Ruhlman hat trick.
Ruhlman hat trick. Yes.
There you go. All right, guys.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
See ya. Brian Ruhlman once again, and we coined a new term tonight. I like that. The Ruhlman hat trick.
Seeing some updates there in the chat. There, Devin Moran won the heat race first, number one heat race down tonight. Now rain is falling, so Devin's luck this year seems to be going crazy. King of the 360 is also underway down at East Bay Raceway Park right now. Practice has begun. 360 sprints right now. Cody Bova the quickest overall with them. So
I wonder if it's raining at Daytona. If it's raining,
Daytona is still showing green with 23 laps in. Eric Almirola leads.
All right. Well, and that's the first of the 2 races, right?
First of the two duels. That's correct. 60 laps, 150 miles.
It may be raining Daytona soon. That's what Dave says.
Almirola, Logano, McDowell, DiBenedetto, and Denny Hamlin, your top 5, with Christopher Bell just outside the top 5 and 6 currently.
All right. Well, we got some racing news to bust through here, and then we'll do how many. It's another chance to win a Big D's pizza, and and we got some interesting stuff that we'll kind of talk about here with the news. Speaking of the Great Lakes Super Sprints, they didn't. Why do I feel like I said this last week? Didn't I say that?
I feel like you covered this last week.
I thought I did too. Did I just not delete stuff?
I think you forgot to delete the Great Lakes Super Sprint stuff off there because it looks like
I think I did, yeah. I was like, wait a minute. They did that last week. All right, never mind. Their schedules are out. We talked about that last week. It was out last week. Get an extra plug there.
You got to update your teleprompter there, Skip.
Yeah. Natalie Decker, she announced what she's going to be doing, and I was kind of surprised by this. She's going to be moving up to the Xfinity Series for at least 5 races, running the number 23 car. During the offseason, that team made the switch to Ford. It's going to be driven by Jason White during the first race on the Daytona Oval. Is that right? Then the following week, Decker will climb into the number 23 on the road course. That's right, yeah. So Decker's not going to be in it this week. She'll be making her debut next week at the road course and run 5 races here at the beginning of the season. So, I don't. You guys think she's deserving of an Xfinity ride at this point in her career?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott, she's run really well in not absolutely first-class equipment. I think she's earned it, and in this day and age, you really don't have to earn your way in anyway. There's a lot of racers.
So you just went from complimenting.
Probably less talented than her.
You went from complimenting her to not really complimenting her. That just took a major nosedive there. Flat Rock Speedway is going to move up the start time for its first 3 Saturday races. Regular start time 7 o'clock for their Saturday races. It's going to be 4 o'clock for May 1st, 8th, and 15th. So an earlier start time there up at the Rock, the Level Pebble, whatever you want to call it. I don't believe they ran any races last year because of the pandemic. So it'd be nice to get some cars back up there.
That would be because they're anticipating a curfew for a while.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I guess that makes sense. That would make sense.
Hey, in Ohio, we lifted ours today, so I'm excited about that.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I was going to ask, was there anything other than the curfew that your governor talked about?
I didn't see. I was working.
Yeah, I didn't
Okay.
watch. I just know that they lifted the curfew, seen the news, and that cases have come down enough. So I'm hoping that's going to continue that trend. I mean, I'm seeing signs a little bit all over the place that people are getting a little more comfortable, shall we say?
Yeah. Well,
everything.
hopefully,
I was hoping that Ohio kind of followed Iowa's lead, where the governor said, "Look, folks, just use your own common sense, and I'm lifting any mandatory orders." And I think there's a lot of states looking at that, and certainly I'm sure the racetracks in our area are hoping that our area's governors do that.
Well, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Don't want the curfew because you don't want to have to run out of time, or dirt tracks. Starting early for Flat Rock isn't too big of a deal because, they don't, it's a pavement track. I mean, the track conditions will change with the heat from the sun and everything, but the reason dirt tracks don't run that early, although this early in the season it may not make that big a difference, is because the heat of the sun dries out the track a lot more, where in the evenings
I don't know if you've noticed, Scott, pavement tracks can spend a huge amount of time cleaning up wrecks because the track has to be pretty much clear
spotless
of any debris, any moisture, any dirt. So yeah, pavement tracks have some issues too with program getting out of control.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily a weather deal in that case.
Right.
Millstream Speedway is set to release their 2021 schedule next week. Scott Warner's back from his personal business he had to take care of, and he's got a couple of T's to cross, some I's to dot, but it sounds like he's pretty excited. I haven't seen the schedule myself, but he kind of was telling me a little bit about it, and it sounds pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing that whole schedule. It'll be Wednesday at the latest. I expect it to come out probably before their Facebook Live on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. So keep an eye early next week on their website, millstreamspeedway.net, or their Facebook, follow them on Twitter, all that stuff. Oakshade also released a few dates for the 2021 race schedule. Of course, opening night has been announced for April 24th. Which I presume will be the Bill Reckner Memorial, as it typically is, but I don't have any details on that yet. They're still putting some finishing touches on their schedule. They have posted 3 Oakshade Attica Late Model Challenge Series nights, and, of course, the previously announced birthday race on July 17th, I do believe. All those dates available on the website, oakshaderaceway.com. Hoserville, Ohio has made the decision not to hold the 18th annual Injured Drivers Benefit Auction on March 6th as originally planned due to health department restrictions. If you may recall, the Hoserville, Ohio auction that benefits injured drivers, Dwayne's deal there, Dwayne Hancock, used to go on at the car show, the mall in Bowling Green, and then once that stopped, he moved it to the some deal at Fremont Speedway and was doing it there. And now
originally started the Hoserville auction in Tiffin, then we moved it to Bowling Green,
yeah.
and then down to the Fremont Speedway. So
tough deal there, but there are going to be a handful of smaller replacement auctions for the year. The first one's going to be an online auction that's going to kick off the first part of March. Second one's tentatively scheduled for April 10th at Attica Raceway Park as part of the Spring Nationals, and third one's tentatively scheduled for June 5th as part of the Fremont Speedway Hall of Fame night. And if enough items are donated, there could be more auctions throughout the year. We'll keep you updated on all that.
And if you have donations, get a hold of Dwayne on Facebook. and not the short hose of Ohio either. There's a couple other great groups in Ohio, the Dayton Auto Race Fans. They also have a great injured drivers fund. But any of those, if you got racing items you'd want to donate to either one of them, they both have great auctions every year, and the funds go back to the racers from Ohio. So it's unfortunate that we have to have injured drivers funds like that, but those guys do an amazing job in both organizations.
Absolutely. And if you can't get a hold of Dwayne or you don't know how, you can't find him, contact one of us and we'll get you in touch with him.
Absolutely.
With that. The Daytona weekend schedule, of course, the duels, they're actually this year called the Blue-Green Vacation Duels. I missed the Gatorade thing, and they keep
I kind of do too.
Yeah. So that started tonight at 7. You got an update on that, Jerry?
Let's see here.
We'll come back to you.
Tyler Reddick leads after 35 laps with Daniel Suarez second. Ryan Preece third. Eric Jones fourth. Kyle Larson currently runs fifth. Looks like pit stops are underway. So
Tyler Reddick, that's Ron's guy, dirt track guy.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow night at 7:30 on FS1 is going to be the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race, ARCA Menard Series race at 1:30 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. That's going to be on FS1. Also on FS1 will be the NASCAR Xfinity Series. That's also Saturday. That'll be at 5 p.m. And then, of course, the Daytona 500 on Sunday afternoon at 2:30, and that will be on the Mothership Network, Fox, not the cable network. So there you go. And, of course, as we mentioned earlier, Alex Bowman, and William Byron are your front row for the Daytona 500 this year. And finally, before we get to this week's How Many and a chance to win a Big D's Pizza, there was one story I came across. I found this kind of interesting and kind of want to get your guys' opinion on this too. Land of Legends Raceway in Canandaigua, New York. That's what I just said. They're going to be offering free live coverage of all their races this year. Live streaming. Promoter Paul Cole believes this will help get new fans in the stands and at the same time provide more value to his sponsors, that he sells to sponsor the track, and also the sponsors of the race teams. He's hoping to attract new fans that have never been to the track with the free streaming. He says, quote, watching in person is a better experience than watching it online. The broadcast will be well-produced and not just someone hitting record on a camera. And he believes this investment is going to pay off in the future. This has a lot of impacts on different things. I mean, people may not go to the track because they can just watch it for free on online. It may impact other streaming services that are, the pay to view services. What do you guys think about this?
I kind of like it because it opens the doors. Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ron.
Canandaigua was a fun track. Nice facility. It will lend itself well to that kind of coverage. And I applaud the guy for stepping up and trying to do something to bring fans back to dirt tracks or to old tracks in general.
I agree with you. What do you think, Jerry?
I like it because it's a way, if you have family that lives across the country in California, they're not going to be able to come watch you on a Friday or Saturday night at a local dirt track. This is a way for those people to be able to see the races. And at the same time, it may take a few of your people out of the stands that would have normally been at the track. It's going to open the eyes of other people in the local area and hopefully bring them to replace those fans plus some. Plus, it gives you a chance to sell some merchandise to people across the country that if their son, daughter, cousin, aunt, uncle, whatever is racing there. So I think it's a good deal all the way around.
And as a broadcaster, and you're doing this yourself, you could insert your own commercials on that as a way to further enhance your track sponsors or anything else. I mean, it's got some interesting possibilities and might be something that local track folks maybe look into.
I wonder if he's using his local track announcers, Scott, or if he's going to have
sure.
a dedicated on-air team.
It just said that it was going to be a well-produced broadcast, and as opposed to just a guy with a camera there. So I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know if that he's going to have a separate announcer or not, or maybe the announcer will be, doing the announcing for the broadcast, and then that'll just be broadcast where the speakers. It's kind of there's different ways it could happen. So I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of people keeping an eye on it and seeing how it works out, and maybe this will be something that catches on. But then, how is that going to work for like Attica, who has all their races available, but that's a subscription there. So I don't know.
Two totally different tracks, different. The only thing that it would affect is if like the Outlaws or the All Stars come into Canandaigua, because then they bring Flow in. Obviously, I don't think
there's going to be some rights issues there at that point.
I don't think the track will be able to broadcast the All Stars or the Outlaws, but they'll be able to broadcast their local guys,
support groups. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I saw that article and I thought it's kind of cool. It's something different, trying something, throwing some stuff up against the wall, see if it sticks. So we shall see. How about we play How Many?
Fine.
Anybody want to play How Many? We all done?
Yeah,
No, because I did so
do it.
wonderful at it last week.
Okay. Well, last week's How Many were how many total points were going to be scored in the Super Bowl. And one team held up their end of the bargain. The other team kind of laid a turd.
Well, they had all second string reject from the Browns from 3 years ago. That's
Is that what the problem was?
The offensive line was made up of 3 of the 4 guys were actually cuts from the Browns 3 years ago.
Wow.
So
3 years ago, was that their 0 winning season?
Yes, that would be that season.
Okay. So anyways, the total points scored in the Super Bowl last Sunday was 40, 31-9. I believe our guesses were in the 70s as far as points. Well, not all of us. No, not yours. I guessed 75. Jerry picked 77. But Ron was a little closer. He had 47. Devin actually picked 73, Devin Moran, when he was on. And the winner for the on-show portion of things is Kathy. She picked 38.
Yeah.
She was 2 points off. How the heck did that happen? She needs to start placing some bets. Bets are legal up there in Michigan now, aren't they? I keep seeing commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations to Kathy on that. And our online winner was right here. Boom. Gretchen Knapp. She guessed 48. Ooh. So she was the closest there. Just 8 above. So congratulations. You get Big D's Pizza over there in Clyde, and just get with Dean Henry to get your pizza, or call me because you're my brother's wife, so I kind of know you. So.
Rigged!
Nah. No, hey, it's all transparent. All the guesses are right there in the comments. So this week's How Many?
It's organic.
And chance to win a Big D's Pizza is we're figured Daytona 500s this weekend. That's Super Bowl of racing. Even if you're not a NASCAR fan, that's fine. How many cars are going to finish on the lead lap? That's this week's How Many. How many cars will finish on the lead lap? Yeah, I changed it from the prep I sent over to you earlier, Jerry. So if you have a guess, go ahead and put those in the comments of our Facebook Live. You can do that up until, we'll say, Sunday at noon. So if you're listening to us on the podcast, on Google Podcast, Spotify, whatever, you still have time to get in. Just log on to Facebook.com or go to HammerdownRacingReport.com, and you can click on our Facebook link from there. Find the comments and put your guess in. As long as it's in before 12 noon, then you will be entered into a chance to win that Big D's Pizza. If you can guess the same number as somebody else, if it's already been guessed, it's all right. We'll spin the Big D's Pizza wheel to determine the tiebreaker there, but you can only guess once. So if you guess more than once, you get the black flag. So let's go around the room here. Is Kathy around since she won last week?
I don't know. She's not here. I mean, she's wandering around somewhere.
All right. Well, she wanders in. Get her vote or get her guess as to how many cars will finish. But what do you got, Ron?
23.
So just a little more than half the field, you're thinking. What do you got, Jerry?
26.
I'm going to go with, I like 26. 26 is good. I'm going to go 27. I'm going to be optimistic. I was thinking going under, but I'm going to go with 27.
I'm thinking the big one's wiping out 14 cars.
Well, there could be multiple big ones and 10 cars finish. You never know.
Right.
And we're almost certain to lose a couple on the last lap.
Yeah, and this is the finishing, not finishing the race, but finishing on the lead lap.
Lead lap.
So that's the other.
I just heard a voice that said 17.
17.
Yeah.
Well, she picked low last time, and it seemed to work for her. So we'll see.
Yeah, she's watching. I don't know where she's watching from. Maybe on the TV. Who knows?
Okay. Maybe that's why your internet's so messed up. She's using up your bandwidth there.
That's it.
Coming up a week from Saturday, we have our first race in this neck of the woods since January 1st. It's Saturday, February 20th. The Hangover Race 2, the twice delayed Hangover Race due to it not being cold enough. And now, now it's cold enough. The gates open or pits open at 9 a.m. for that. Main gate opens at 11. Racing will be at 1 p.m. and general admission is going to be $12 for that. There was a Twitter poll. I'm not sure if it's still up because I think it was a 24-hour deal as far as the track prep. And he was leaving that up to people to decide. I know he called you, Ron, asking your opinion, but then he figured that your answer was probably what was going to benefit you the most. And so the two choices.
I didn't want it to be a wreck fest.
Okay. Well, and it may not even be an option at this point because I saw the forecast earlier tonight, and it looks like there's a couple snowstorms we're supposed to get next week. So originally, the options were not to plow the track, and he was going to try and pack the snow in, so it would be a hard pack kind of deal, or to plow the track to plow down to just so you could see the dirt there. So, and I believe last I checked, the leave the snow on the track was winning. But if we get multiple inches of snow next week, it may end up being to get the cars on the track. We're going to need to plow it. So, well, make sure to tune in Wednesday for the broadcast for an update on that. Again, that'll be at Millstream's Facebook page. So, looking for that next week on the show. Again, we mentioned this earlier. We're going to be talking with Amber Balkin. She is a young lady from Canada, raced in Wisconsin, I do believe, won the 410 track championship sprint car up at a track there in Wisconsin, and was running for Kyle Busch Motorsports. And you may recognize her name. She was on, what's that show? Racing Wives, yes, which I've never watched. I'm sure it's awesome, though. We'll have to ask her about that. So she'll be our guest next week on the show. And like I said before, she's got a big announcement on Tuesday as far as what's going on with her racing. And I don't know what that is. So it may be she's running go-karts, or it could be maybe she's running the cup race. I don't know. We'll find out Tuesday. We'll talk about it on Thursday, 7 o'clock right here on the Hammer Down Racing Report. Thanks again to our associate producer who celebrated a birthday last week. Another thing I forgot to update on my prep there, Dave Kemmer. And, of course, field correspondent Matt Swander. Doug Dock, I haven't heard from in a while. Missing Doug Dock from Sandusky Speedway there. 2 weeks from tonight, we'll talk to Jay Steele. Again, we mentioned that, safety director at Motor City Racing, Kalamazoo, and Nashville Speedways. And then 3 weeks from tonight, if we get these lined up, this is the plan. This is more of a roadmap at this point. I talked to Andy King from, I guess he's just calling the Dirt Truck Series.
The former Track Truck Series, DTTS.
Gotcha. The former dirt trucks that ran at Waynes Field. And did they run it?
We ran a couple races at Lima. We have a couple scheduled for last year and then this year, as long as the pandemic ceases.
So we'll talk to Andy about that. That's 3 weeks from tonight. So we got a bunch of things in the works for upcoming shows. Any updates, final update here before we go watch some dual
8 laps remaining. Fords dominate with Eric Amarola leading, Joey Logano second. Third is Matty D. Fourth, Rocket Man Ryan Newman.
All right.
And Christopher Bell, your first Toyota, currently in 5th. Jamie McMurray, your first Chevrolet, in 6th. Again, just 8 laps remain in duel number 1.
Thanks again to Oakshade Raceway for being our presenting sponsor for the remainder of this year, as a matter of fact. Looking forward to that schedule coming out. Also, thanks to Real Geese Silhouette Decoys. Check them out at realgeese.com. Millstream Speedway. Again, they got the broadcast, live broadcast with an update for that race coming up a week from Saturday. The race is a week from Saturday. Live broadcast is next Wednesday. So tune in to that Wednesday before the race to get the latest on what's going to be going on with that. It's going to be interesting. Big D's Pizza in Clyde. Give them a call, 419-547-1444. And, of course, Ron Miller Race Cars, the best all-around. 734-856-7223 for all your race car needs. I can almost read that.
King of the 360s, East Bay. Heat race number 1 is in the books. Dustin Gates wins with Connor Leffler 2nd. Eric Riggins Jr. 3rd. Those 3 have transferred to A Main. Cale Conley, all the big names on the outside looking in here. Cale Conley, Carson McCarl, Frank, Ryan Timms, and Justin Whitehall round out the field in Heat 1, the Kings of the 360s. And I'm assuming it's still raining in Volusia. I haven't seen any updates from there.
Yeah. Well, we'll go find out. We'll let you go. Again, we'll be back next week with Amber Bulkin. And for Ron Miller, Jerry Keyser, I'm Scott Hammer. Have a good night. I would say go support your local racetrack this weekend.
Races this weekend, folks.
I would say go support your local track this weekend, but you could do so by staying warm and staying safe and then going to Millstream the following weekend. How's that?
Yeah.
Sound like a winner to me.
And then Attica next month. Attica's starting up, so looking forward to that. I'm going to try and press the button to get the close to fire here, so this could be a little awkward since I'm having some issues getting that to happen. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and we'll see you next week, 7 o'clock. We're out. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
You
all.
have been listening to the Hammer Down Racing Report, available on demand on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting platform.